Welcome to What's Your Story? I'm your host, Sharita Williams, and today my guest is Christy Butts. Christy is a happiness coach and an author. Please help me welcome Christy Butts to the show. Christy,
Thank,
welcome.
thank you, Sharita. It's an honor to be here.
Christy, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, I joined the 50s Club this year, and I am a happiness coach. I am a mom of 5, a Mimi to 16. I live in North Houston, Texas, and actually just moved from more of the suburbs to the country, and I'm a country girl. I grew up in a town of 200 people, 2,000 cows, so I feel right at home right now.
Well, great. Well, welcome to the 50 Club. You will look 50 and fabulous. So welcome. So I understand that you lived in Alaska, and in your book, you talk about your experience a little bit about Alaska. Please tell us the name of your book and some lessons you learned in Alaska.
Okay, this is my book. It's called You Choose Your Path. Looks like a little light on there. Look, You Choose Your Path. And this is a story of our experiences living in Alaska. And I think I know all of us at different times in our lives, we may have a series of unfortunate events happen, or we have trials, and all these things can help us to grow and to develop and to learn all kinds of things. And this was definitely the experience for us. We had sold a thriving company in Utah. The buyers defaulted on the payments. We had moved to Alaska, and we didn't want to file for bankruptcy. We wanted to maintain the integrity of the contracts that we had made with our former lenders. And so in order to maintain and juggle all of our payments, what we did was we just downsized to a small little one-room cabin, and we had no running water, and we had to drill our own well, and we had 4 little boys, and we had an outhouse. And I know a lot of women would say, I would just say, that's it, I'm out of here. But I know that I'm a pretty resilient person, and I thought, oh, it's probably just going to be for a couple months. I can do this. I can do anything probably for a couple months. But it ended up being a couple years, and we drilled our own well. We would carry 2 5-gallon buckets of ice cold water into the cabin. We'd pour it onto a big pot on the stove to be able to wash our dishes. And our last name is Butts. And so if you have that last name, you're going to hear all kinds of jokes, but I'm going to tell one to you. Do you know how to keep your butts from sticking to a frozen outhouse seat when it's 20 below? I'm going to give you a $1,000 tip. Now, should you ever find yourself in such a frigid situation, which you guys on the East Coast, probably the lower East Coast, probably won't have to ever deal with this. But if you want to know how to keep your booty from sticking, you just get a pair of long socks and you slide them over the split on the seat, and voila, it will still be cold, but at least you will not stick.
I love it. But let's continue on.
So we knew this wasn't really the ideal life for children in America. We needed to do something better. We were getting by, and we prayed and pondered what to do. We saw a used limousine for sale in Anchorage, Alaska, in the little downtown area. And we said, what could we do with that limousine? We could start ourselves an airport service. We could actually, when we move and get out of this cabin, we could turn it into like a little bed and breakfast, and we could do tours of Alaska. So we bought the limousine company, we started an airport service, and in a matter of just 2 years, we were able to move out of that cabin back into a normal house. And in 5 years, we studied from the best of the best. We would go to the Las Vegas shows and the Atlantic City shows, and we would learn from all the great limousine operators in the country. And we ended up just growing and growing that business. And in 5 years, our company became the National Midsize Operator of the Year. And with it, that was a 24/7, 365-day operation. There was never a day off. And the stress was starting to rise and our happiness was starting, to sometimes just like, oh, you got the great bank account and but our life was not simple and sweet anymore. When we lived on the cabin, we had a little lake in our backyard. We'd go kayak or canoeing, and we would have a little stream, and the salmon would spawn up the streams. And we just had a lot of time for like nature walks and blueberry picking and all kinds of fun stuff. And there was less and less time for those kind of things, and life revolved all around the company. Well, I was juggling a lot of snowballs, and I knew I couldn't drop the ball on the Sultan of Saudi Arabia. I couldn't drop the ball on the Vice President of China. But occasionally, the ball that I dropped was the confidence of my kids, or showing appreciation and affection to my husband. And again, it's not like this was the only time I prayed, but again, I just said, I know that anybody can take my place running this company, but nobody should take the place being the wife to my husband and the mother to my children. So God, please help us to be able to figure out something, help us to sell the company or help us to get a great manager. And
so out of that, Christy, was that the birth of the Sunshine Strategy?
The birth probably came a little bit later, though it probably came a little bit later, but it definitely had to make us pivot and decide, what do we want? What's the most important thing to us? If we had stayed there, the impression that I got, it's kind of off the wall, but I had always wanted to be a massage therapist. And when I was young and I was still living at home, there was not any schools around besides my father had known a whole different kind of massage back in, his travels. And he said, you're not going to be one of those. And I just had this, I just liked the therapy of positive, healthy touch. Anyway, my husband, I said, what would you think if I became a massage therapist? And he said, yeah, go find a school. Now, what husband wouldn't? He's going to have fringe benefits for the rest of his life. So he said, find a school. So I'm thinking, yeah, nice little school in downtown Anchorage, that'll work. He gets online and he starts searching schools, and he finds a school in Costa Rica, and he shows it to me. And you could see like there's parakeets and there's monkeys on the roof of the little cabanas where the girls, where the people stay. And it was called Costa Rica School of Massage Therapy. And I'm like, don't tempt me, honey. Don't tease me. This could be like a dream come true, especially when you're living in Alaska. It's cold, it's dark, the winters are long. Anyway, he says, well, there's an application and the deadline is next week. Why don't you just fill out the application and see if you get accepted? So I filled it out, and lo and behold, I got accepted. And then we decided we better take a trip there and see what it was all about. But long story short, we ended up selling our company. We moved our whole family down there. And it was a drastic change. And not everybody can actually do that kind of thing. But for the benefit of our family, that was one of the greatest things that we could have done. And my husband worked on his commercial pilot's license. I became a massage therapist. Our kids learned Spanish, and we went from living in the Arctic to the tropical jungle. And it was quite an adventure. So the book is just packed with photographs and with all kinds of tidbits and nuggets about marriage and family and the things that mean a lot to us. And again, it has lots of beautiful, great photos from Alaska and from Costa Rica. So that's a little bit about our story. The book became an international bestseller, and I love sharing it with others.
So Christy, tell our viewers how they can buy the book.
The book is available on Amazon. It's $3 for the Kindle version and $20 to get the hard copy. Or you can reach out to me direct if you want me to sign one, and you can get one that way too.
All right. Well, give us your email or your website.
Okay, the number one, Happy Tribe. onehappytribe.com is the website.
Okay.
And the email is Chrissy@onehappytribe.com.
All right, that sounds great. Christy, tell us about the 21-day happiness challenge.
Okay, and you had asked what was the birth of this challenge. So we have actually had 4 family members commit suicide, and I couldn't wrap my head around what's happening, and the reason for so much heartache and discouragement. And so I I I prayed and pondered and fasted and thought about it for a long time, and I said, Heavenly Father, if you can use my hands, if you can teach me something that may be a benefit to somebody else, I'm willing to use it and to serve, if you give me some inspiration. And this was the inspiration that I received. So I know that our research has proven our happiness is directly related to many things, but some of the top things is uh, our the number of close personal relationships we have with others, and then our frequency. You can have a lot of friends and family members and people that you care about, but if you don't ever see them or you don't ever talk to them, and you stay wrapped up in your, like games and nonsense things that don't actually like interact, you don't have very many positive interactions with others, then um, you're going to miss out. They're going to miss out. And the third thing is having a sense of purpose. So the sunshine strategy is you could take a piece of paper and you can draw a little sunshine on it. And then you look at then you create 8 different sunbeams. And the sunbeams going out are going to represent 8 different people. Or if you're a social butterfly and you have so many people you love and care about, I break mine into categories. So for me, my 8 are God, family, or my God, and then my marriage, and then family, my friends, my neighbors, social groups, clients and colleagues, and and even strangers. And then think about the positive interactions you've had with each of those, either those groups or those individual people in the llast week. Maybe it was a text to your mom that lives 10 states away, or maybe your sister that's far away, or maybe you had lunch with a friend, or you reached out to a neighbor, or there's a friend from church that you knew that was sick and you took the time to call them and checked on them to see how they were doing. So every time, I'm going to get I love to do this with a plain piece of paper. And I'm going to do it with a marker. Okay. So
are you developing the strategy now?
Yeah, so here's the 8, let's say these are the 8 groups or the 8 individual people. And every time that you've had these positive interactions, you're going to draw little sunbeams, like little sunbursts like this. So if this was God, for me, it would be like, if I read the scriptures, or I went to worship, or I listened to positive music, every time I do that, I'm developing a stronger relationship with God. If it's with a friend or a neighbor, same thing. Every time you have a positive interaction with them during the last week, you're going to create these little sunbursts. Now, if we were to ask on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your happiness level? And you're going to write that down in the top left corner. And let's say somebody says, man, it's been a horrible week, and I'm a 3. And what would you like it to be? And hopefully everybody would want their happiness level to be a 10. Now, I want you to, so then they would take the time to think about how many positive interactions they've had with others. And then, Sharita, we know that you can't get light from a dead flashlight battery. You can't get water from an empty well. It's so important that we recharge so we have something to be able to give to others. So this visual assessment would just show these little themes coming in. This is a recharge. And recharging can be a variety of different things. All of us recharge differently. Some people love to jog, or not me. Some people love to go do woodworking or to paint. Some people love to garden or do family history. All of us do different kinds of things. Some of us just love to be around other people. And so every time you do these, maybe you have a cat or a dog and you spend time petting it and walking it and playing with it. And so every time you do this with one of these ways you recharge in the last week, you can see it recharges, so you have something else to give, to be able to share with others. So if we were to ask somebody, let's say one of my family members that just felt like life was hopeless and that was nothing, I guarantee that they're not doing one of these three things. They've lost their sense of connection to the people they care about, and or they are distracted. They're not interacting with those people at all. They're ignoring text messages or not replying. They're distracted by other things that, whether it's binge watching or playing just hours and hours of like electronics instead of real human to human connections. And then, or they're not recharging. Their purpose, they don't feel a sense of purpose. Nothing excites them and drives them forward. So this is a sunshine strategy, and it's a visual assessment. It's so simple, even a 5-year-old can understand it. We can say, hey, are you happy today? Like if they say, no, I'm not really happy, I'm really bored, I don't know what to do. And then just have them draw this out. It's so easy that even, like I said, little kids can do it, or even, the elderly can do it. So so the sunshine strategy is this little assessment. It's available on my website under freebies at onehappytribe.com. And then on this other page is also available, and it's a 21-day happiness challenge. And so for 21 days, this could start the first day of every month if you wanted to, within an organization or within your family or within a social group that you might be involved in. So for 21 days, everybody works on trying to do 3 things every day that they give light, they share their light with others, and there's 21 different ideas for that. And there's 21 different ideas of ways that they can recharge. And so as they do this, their light gets brighter and brighter. And at the end of the 21 days, of course, there's still 8 or 9 days left in the month. So during that time, it's really neat to get together with other people and say, what happened during your 21-day happiness challenge? And miracles can take place. Like people that haven't talked to their family members, maybe for months or years, break through that.
And that sounds great, Christy, because especially with this being a pandemic and you don't really have that social interaction with people on the outside, that sounds great. That challenge sounds great. And, we can, especially since we know how to access that through your website. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back. We would like to take a break right now, and we'll be back shortly. If you would like to be a guest on this show, please reach out to Sharita Williams 154 at gmail.com, or you can go to our website, WYTV7.org, Christian Broadcaster Network. We'll be back in just a minute.
Swing Into Their Dreams Foundation presents the Golf Tournament of the Year, raising scholarships for aspiring National Golf Club in Milton, Georgia. The inaugural HBCU Swing Into Their Dreams Charity Golf Tournament. Registration and gourmet continental breakfast begins at 8 a.m. and shotgun at 10 a.m. Award reception follows. Come enjoy a day of jazz, mimosa, cigars, cash bar, silent auction, and more. For more information, contact 770-686-7148. Their dreams. Don't miss it.
Well, what's your story? Today, my guest is Christy Butts, and she's going to tell us a little bit this half about the power hour. In this, we will learn about the power hour. We will learn about our program, Top Dads. But in the meantime, we would like to thank our sponsors, Zona Plus. Christy, tell us about the power hour.
Okay, the Family Power Hour is based on a program that's been around for over 100 years, and it's over in 150 different countries. It's a very successful program. It's called Family Home Evening. There are lots of resources that you can find a little bit about more Family Home Evening, but I took that concept, and there aren't always a lot of it's not always super structured. So I just made it a little bit structured for super busy moms and dads. And so what the Family Power Hour is, it's a weekly 1 hour family team building activity. And the family comes together. We say every Monday night at 7 o'clock is going to be our power hour. And in this that I've created, there's 6 different activities in their time. So 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes. And there's a scorecard and there's some rules. And then the first step is to have, for 5 minutes, somebody in the family would welcome everybody. It could be your 3-year-old, and they would say, "Welcome to our Family Power Hour." And then everybody in the family honors that little 3-year-old as she is the welcomer, and she gets to choose her favorite song. And I don't care if it's the Wheels on the Bus, everybody in the family is going to sing it. And then you'd have a family prayer. And also, if your family has a family mission statement, this would be a great time to repeat the family mission statement. If you don't have one, there is an idea of how to create your own on the very back of the card. The next is a family council. And I would say if there's a patriarch in the family, the father should lead this activity. There are so many things that we do as women. We're in charge of everything under the sun as far as schedules, and we know where everybody's supposed to be at any given moment. And we know what's not only going on today, but tomorrow, and, weeks and weeks ahead. So this is a good opportunity for the fathers to lead this specific family council if there's one in the home. So the family council is a time where he or if there's not, the matriarch would say, the mother would say, this is a time for compliments. It's a time to get an assessment of how everybody's doing, and to review calendar ideas, and then to offer suggestions for any problems that are happening. It's not supposed to be long. This family council is in this family power hour is a total of 10 minutes. And then it's so often we often have a compliment, but we think it, but we never get it out of our mouth to the person who needs to hear it. So this can be photocopied and kept on the refrigerator where everybody can see during the week. Actually, there's in the workbook is an expanded, a bigger version of it. But anyway, it's a place for people to write their compliments during the week. And then when it's time for this family council, Dad would say, "Go get that sheet off the fridge." And then he would read all the compliments. "Oh, Mom made the best lasagna this week," or "Brother took me out for ice cream," or whatever it was that they really appreciated. They actually spent the time to write it down, and it becomes meaningful to the family. And then it's a time like, this isn't ever a time to throw anybody under the bus. Like, if I know there's always stuff that needs to be discussed, but it wouldn't be a time to like make it a gripe session. But if there's sometimes our biggest problems could be solved in just a few minutes if we actually just took the time, we structured the time to be able to take it, to be able to like attack that problem. And the solutions are usually so close that they're not even hard to figure out, but we just need a time to be able to discuss that. So that's a family council. And then we have a lesson and a sharing time. And it's not a 10-minute lecture. It's not a 30-minute, like sometimes like, hey, sometimes parents like want to bring, like drill something into our children's heads, and then we go on and on and on and want to make sure that they really get it. So this is a lesson, but it's a rotating thing. So everybody in the family rolls the dice. They're all getting one of these assignments. And so maybe it's the 14-year-old that pulls the card for the lesson, and he or she gets to share a specific lesson. And then there are 12 different lessons inside the book. There's this house right here, and there's 12 principles that can defend and protect the family. And just briefly, I'll just share, like, one of them is like building the self-worth in each other, and an attitude of gratitude, asking God for help, and spending time, quality time, expressing kindness. So anyway, any of the lessons, there's lesson ideas inside the workbook that the children can come up with teaching a little lesson, or they can just share something that they learned that they want to just share. It can be a variety of any kind of thing like that.
So Christy, tell us how we can get a copy of that.
The Family Power Hour, you could go to my website, and if I'm changing my website. I'm just updating it for the Top Dads Lead program. And so you can send me a message. If it's not, I need to double check if it's on the store, but the Family Power Hour is on sale for $50 right now. And I have gone to the Fathers and Families Conference in Los Angeles for the last 4 years. And I've had there's been some prison groups that for dads getting outside of prison, and they use this specific program for their dads to be able to connect with their children. And it doesn't take a lot of planning. It's like you can just sit down and just grab this, and I hope I don't make it sound complicated, but the last couple activities are the team building activity, and there's 12 different really fun team building activities that whoever gets this activity can do. And I always tell the parents, this is for them to decide. Don't say, oh, I think you should do this one. I think you should do this one. Allow them to have the leadership and the ownership of them choosing that activity and organizing it. And most of this stuff is going to be stuff you're going to have in your own house. You don't have to go out and buy a bunch of complicated things and rack up a big budget. So the next is just like a little mini service project idea. And then again, it's really simple, but it helps families to think about people beyond just inside their own household. So they can create their own service project, or there's 12 simple little service projects. One of my favorite is, let's say you don't know your neighbor that just moved down the street, 3 doors down. And you say, okay, we have exactly this activity is 10 minutes. We have to be back here in 10 minutes. Mom's made some plate of cookies, and we're going to run down the street. We're going to knock on their door, say, hey, we're the Peterson family. We just want to introduce ourselves and say hello, leave you these cookies. Here's our phone number if there's anything you ever need, and then run back to the house and get back in before the timer clicks for the next person to have their activity. So it's quick and snappy and fun, and the kids don't get bored.
That sounds great. Now, time is running, so
okay.
This is a great segue. Tell us about the Top Dad Leader Program.
Okay, Top Dads Lead, Love, and Lift is a leadership program for fathers. I know that 33% of boys grow up and they don't have a father figure to be able to have a role model and to be able to know how to be a good dad. And so now, as the generations continue, it's their turn to be able to start creating offspring and start having children of their own. And it's easy probably for I think mothering and nurturing comes so natural and inside of women, but dads could benefit from that, from an example. And if they didn't have the example, then it can be difficult. And women can get super frustrated because it's natural for them, but it's not natural for guys. And I think as women, we could do so much to help them grow into this calling if we don't try to push them out of the cockpit and take over the controls and fly the family jet ourselves. It happens so often. And if we can allow them the space and a little bit of time and not get too frustrated in the process of them growing into this calling, they could rise and shine and just be such great leaders of our families if we could give them the tools and the resources and the patience to allow them to have this process to be able to learn. So my husband is a captain in the airlines, and he has so many cool analogies and stories, and he is a great mentor. And so we're collaborating and we're building a new website and have this really cool program to be able to help dads to really grow into the greatest, most important calling here on earth, and that of being a father and a mother for women.
So Christy, I think that's great. So tell our audience again how they can reach you, give them your website. And I would like for you to leave one encouraging thing with us before we tune off. Okay. Tell us maybe your favorite scripture.
Okay. All right. So my website is onehappytribe.com, and And you can reach me at Chrissy@onehappytribe.com. And let's see, my favorite scripture is Matthew 5:16. And that's when Jesus was teaching a sermon on the mountain. And he said, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." And I love this scripture. And there's a light inside every single one of us. And he doesn't want us to put a bushel over us, and he doesn't want us to retreat and to hide and to hibernate. He needs us to let our light shine, because we do glorify him, but we have no idea how many, that sunshine strategy, we have no idea how many people would put our name on their own sunshine, and they love us, they need us, they're counting on us. And so if we can realize the potential of our light, the power of our light, and the possibilities that just us sharing our light can do for other people, it would just make the world a greater place.
Thank you so much, Chrissy. Thank you for being on our show, What's Your Story? And thank you for just being a part and sharing and letting your light so shine before men. It's especially with this pandemic, it is so important that we reconnect with our families, reconnect with our inner man, so that we can let our light so shine before man. So I think that's beautiful. I would like to thank our sponsor, Zona Plus. I would like to thank WYTV7.org. And if you, again, would like to be a guest on our show, please reach out to me. That's Sharita Williams, 154@gmail.com. Or you can go to our website, WYTV7.org, Christian Broadcaster. And if you are enjoying these beautiful, beautiful stories, please donate to WYTV7.org. And until we meet again, let your story be our story to share, to make the world more brighter. Thank you.